Before we listen to inspirational quotes from Wilella Sibert Cather, here's a little background on Wilella Sibert Cather. Wilella Sibert Cather Willa is a world-acclaimed American author, insightful poet, successful woman journalist and a theater analyst. She's dearly loved for her novels My Antonia, Death Comes for the Archbishop, The Song of the Lark, O Pioneers, and Sapphira and the Slave Girl that depict regular happening in the frontier life of the Great Plains. Contrary to common notion, Cather didn't spend her life raising multiple children at farms. Rather than exerting her charms on rich men or devoting her life to the Catholic Church, she spent last 4 decades of her life in the cosmopolitan NY society. Willa's life is a fiercely independent, intelligent, down-to-earth, affectionate and opinionated woman is an inspiration for modern-day working woman in high-end downtown. This cantankerous writer started off as an editor for The Home Monthly, an English teacher at high school, but she moved in with her partner Edith Lewis to live a controversial homosexual life at NYC. In due course, Willa attained phenomenal success for her editorial skills through McClure's magazine. Her elegant writing style is evident in most of her write-ups. Willa maintained an active writing career until her death, after which her personal letters were burnt to honor her last will. We have extracted some of Willa Cather's profound quotes from her writings in her life. Here is a collection of Willa Cather quotes and sayings about love, writing, happiness, ambition, art, etc. There are some things you learn best in calm, and some in storm. The heart of another is a dark forest, always, no matter how close it has been to one's own. The world is little, people are little, human life is little. There is only one big thing, desire. Where there is great love, there are always miracles. Whatever we had missed, we possessed together the precious, the incommunicable past. Most of the basic material a writer works with is acquired before the age of 15. It's all very well to tell us to forgive our enemies. Our enemies can never hurt us very much. But oh, what about forgiving our friends? People live through such pain only once. Pain comes again, but it finds a tougher surface. That is happiness, to be dissolved into something complete and great. When it comes to one, it comes as naturally as sleep. The fact that I was a girl never damaged my ambitions to be a pope or an emperor. Now I understood that the same road was to bring us together again. Whatever we had missed, we possessed together the precious, the incommunicable past. Let your fiction grow out of the land beneath your feet. Men travel faster now, but I do not know if they go to better things. The old man smiled. I shall not die of a cold, my son. I shall die of having lived. Some memories are realities and are better than anything that can ever happen to one again. What was any art but a mold to imprison for a moment the shining elusive element which is life itself, life hurrying past us and running away, too strong to stop, too sweet to lose. Success is never so interesting as struggle. The soul cannot be humbled by fasts and prayer. It must be broken by mortal sin to experience forgiveness of sin and rise to a state of grace. Otherwise, religion is nothing but dead logic. People can be lovers and enemies at the same time, you know. There was nothing but land, not a country at all, but the material out of which countries are made. That is happiness, to be dissolved into something complete and great. Artistic growth is, more than it is anything else, a refining of the sense of truthfulness. The stupid believe that to be truthful is easy. Only the artist, the great artist, knows how difficult it is. She had certain thoughts which were like companions, ideas which were like older and wiser friends. I wondered if the life that was right for one was ever right for two. No one can build his security upon the nobleness of another person. Only a woman, divine, could know all that a woman can suffer. There are only 2 or 3 human stories, and they go on repeating themselves as fiercely as if they had never happened before. The idea of you is a part of my mind. You influence my likes and dislikes, all my tastes, hundreds of times when I don't realize it. You really are a part of me. Paris is a hard place to leave, even when it rains incessantly and one coughs continually from the dampness. Only solitary men know the full joys of friendship. Others have their family, but to a solitary and an exile his friends are everything. If there were no girls like them in the world, there would be no poetry. One cannot divine nor forecast the conditions that will make happiness. One only stumbles upon them by chance, in a lucky hour, at the world's end somewhere, and hold fast to the days. Winter lies too long in country towns, hangs on until it is stale and shabby, old and sullen. To fulfill the dreams of one's youth, that is the best that can happen to a man. No worldly success can take the place of that. Freedom so often means that one isn't needed anywhere. Prayers said by good people are always good prayers. Ah, the terror and the delight of that moment when first we fear ourselves. Until then we have not lived. The dead might as well try to speak to the living as the old to the young. The more observing ones may have seen, but discerning people are usually discreet and often kind, for we usually bleed a little before we begin to discern. There is often a good deal of the child left in people who have had to grow up too soon. Love itself draws on a woman nearly all the bad luck in the world. Some things are best learned in calm, others in storm. I prefer to be foolish when I feel like it, and be accountable to nobody. I do not see you as you really are, Joseph, I see you through my affection for you. And that's what makes men happy, believing in the mystery and importance of their own individual lives. There was a new kind of strength in the gravity of her face, and her colors still gave her that look of deep-seated health and ardor. The history of every country begins in the heart of a man or a woman. Pittsburgh was even more vital, more creative, more hungry for culture than New York. Pittsburgh was the birthplace of my writing. It's awfully easy to rush into a profession you don't really like, and awfully hard to get out of it. If we never arrived anywhere, it did not matter. Between that earth and that sky I felt erased, blotted out. I did not say my prayers that night. Here, I felt what would be would be. People have to snatch at happiness when they can, in this world. It is always easier to lose than to find. Things away from home often look better than they are. I only want impossible things, she said roughly. The others don't interest me. Religion is different from everything else, because in religion seeking is finding. Our tree became the talking tree of the fairy tale. Legends and stories nestled like birds in its branches. I wanted to walk straight on through the red grass and over the edge of the world, which could not be very far away. It was to him a very strange and perplexing place, where people wore fine clothes and had hard hearts. But I can't help feeling scared when I think how I will miss you more than you will ever know. You must not begin to fret about the successes of cheap people. After all, what have they to do with you? Doctrine is well enough for the wise, Jean, but the miracle is something we can hold in our hands and love. It was no wonder that her son stood tall and straight. She was a rich mine of life, like the foundation of early races.